So, welcome in to Fat Beans Coffee Labs. Uh, Obviously, this is we're doing some roasting content today. Um, we're going to be doing another batch of new greens that I got in from Sweet Maria's. This is a new Ethiopian. I'll be kind of running through it a little bit through the roast. So, like I said, it's a new batch, and we're going to be roasting it. Going to try to roast it light. It is Ethiopians are notorious for needing to be able to stay light and bright in order to get the most out of their flavors. So we'll be doing a pretty standard light Ethiopian roast. Now this is a different roast, a different bean than I've done in the past. I would imagine it's going to roast up somewhat similar to other Ethiopians, but we'll see. Just give you a look at the beans themselves. This is a 20-pound bag of green coffee. It orders in sizes 1 pound, 5 pound, 10 pound. This is a 20. They also have 50s, and it goes all the way up to 136 pounds, which comes out to be about 60 kilograms. So this is a lot of green coffee. And there he is. So welcome in, Vegetable Beard. It's nice to see you as my solo viewer, as we're waiting for some people to come in. Oh, we got two. So got two viewers in here. And yes, this is 20 pounds of green beans, and we'll be doing an Ethiopian roast tonight. I've done quite a bit of Ethiopians in the past. It tends to be my preferred flavor palette. I really enjoy pour over coffees, especially in a V60 or a Chemex. They're very, very subtle brewing techniques, which really allows for the light flavors, the fruity, acidy flavors of Ethiopian coffees to really come through. So I primarily am an Ethiopian person. I did some Costa Rican last night. I did take that a little bit medium dark. So I should be trying it and getting some full specs out to my Instagram page in the next couple of days. But today we're just gonna stick with an Ethiopian and see if we can't get this dialed in and start making some delicious coffee out of it. So, two viewers, unrelated, so rad. Yeah, got two now. So we'll go ahead and get started. Feel free to drop some questions in as we go. I'll try to answer them. Today I'm just going to do a single roast, and then when I get the roast done, I'll try to have some more designated time for Q&A. Another thing to keep in mind, Friday we're going to be bringing in a professional barista into the Fat Beans roast. I guess it would be the Fat Beans Brew Lab, which is just a kitchen that we have set up down here as well. He will be showing his pour over method that they use at Black Dog Coffee in Lenexa, Kansas, and also going how he tries to dial in new coffees that he gets from his roaster. So it should be a pretty good time, pretty informative. We'll have some fun, ask him some questions. So tune into that. That will be 8:30 on Friday. But right now we're going to warm up our machine. It is the middle of winter here in Kansas. So normally in the past, when I first started roasting in the summer, preheat wasn't necessarily required. But what I'm finding is to get the beans up to first crack. And first crack is where we start calling that roasted coffee. So if you've ever had light roasted coffee, really what they're saying is it's past first crack. So to get it up to that first crack mark, I like to try to get it in within the first 8 to 10 minutes. For this machine, which is a Bmore 2000, to be able to get the beans up to first crack by 8 minutes, it does take a little bit of preheating. So we're going to preheat this roughly about 200, 210 degrees, and then we will add the green beans. So if you've never seen green beans before, this is a good look at what a green bean offering is. They are considerably smaller than the roasted beans. They also do not have a very pleasant smell. It smells a little bit earthy, a little bit like dirt, kind of like cut grass, and the taste is awful. I do not recommend eating green beans. I've done it just so I could tell you that they taste awful, but overall, not a very enjoyable thing. So within a matter of about 10 minutes, we're going to turn this very unappetizing green bean into some delicious light roasted Ethiopian coffee today. All right, I'll be doing a half pound. Half pound seems to be where this Be More 2000 shines the best. And again, it's also where we can get it up to first crack after about 8 minutes. Although 8 minutes seems relatively fast, that is, in the coffee world, would be considered a very slow roast. Anything past 11 to 12 minutes, we're going to enter into what we start calling baking. Now, I get a lot of questions when I say baking. There seems to be a little bit of, hey, what does that taste like? You have to drink a lot of coffee and really be inspecting the taste to taste the baked flavors. It's not so much it would taste like baked foods. What baked means in coffee is the acids aren't there. They're not popping up as tight. Now with a medium or dark roast, the acids aren't popping, and we have our first technical difficulty of the night. So I'm going to run up and fix the breaker real quick. I'll explain what happened there here in a minute. No idea roasting time was so quick. I will be right back. Well, it's not a Fat Beans Coffee Lab roast without a little bit of technical difficulties. So I do apologize for that. We are still getting everything set up, and that also means I'm trying to get worked to a designated power source to my roaster. But right now we share things, so if I forget to turn things on that are upstairs, the overall breaker will blow. So, live show. Alright, so, oh no, I didn't know there would be so much drama involved. Well, yeah, there's got to be a little bit of drama in coffee roasting because it's very scientific, but it's also an art. So, kind of got to fly by the seat of our pants here, Vegetable Beard. Anyway, Lisa brings up a good point. 8 minutes seems relatively quick, but in the coffee roasting realm, 8 minutes to first crack is about as late as you want to go. In fact, professional roasters, big drum roasters, depending on what kind of, I guess, roasting profile, with a really hard bean, you could take that as early as 4 or 5 minutes. With a fluid bed, or what you might know as air roasting, so you've ever heard of someone air roasting, that just means that the hot air is being forced over top of the beans. We can see times get up as quick as 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes. And that's not even to mention, you know, soluble or instant coffee, which is being roasted, they're roasting hundreds of pounds in the matter of, you know, a couple of minutes. So 8 minutes is actually, would be considered a relatively quick roast. All right. So what we're gonna do, these are just regular old barbecue mitts. We're going to take out our preheated drum, drop our green coffee in, and this is the drum. As you can see, it's just a wire mesh drum. It's got a couple of agitators inside of it, and these are just what's going to keep the coffee from getting stuck and making so it doesn't roast on one side. Drop our green in. Goes the bean can. Roll that beautiful bean footage. Couldn't have said it better myself, Beard. All right. So, get our machine set up here. And set our roast times. Okay, so we got our roast all set up, and I'll go a little bit over what we're doing here. So this is a home roast B-More 2000 machine. You can think of it almost like a microwave with a rotisserie in it. It has two heating elements in the back, so the coffee is being rotated, and we're trying to focus all of the coffee towards the back so that it can get as much exposure to the heating element. Now we don't just want it sitting, so it's going to agitate the beans to try to keep them mixed up. I do have a little bit of control over what this roaster does. So early on in roasting, I'm just trying to dry the beans out, which means I'm just trying to get all the water out so that the sugars and acids and proteins and CO2 can all start to bubble and boil and eventually reach what is called first crack. What we are doing to dry it out is I have it on full heat. I have it in a preheated drum. This is going to help the coffee get dried out as quickly as possible. Now, some roasters like to mess around with their heating profiles, but really generally in the early phases, the green to yellow phases, every roaster would generally agree that, said generally twice now, that you want to just get it dried out as quickly as possible. Bean cam. Yes, so looking at the bean cam here, this is a good look inside the roaster. So you can see the agitation. What would show up as purple on this screen, that is actually the heating element. And we are up to 3 viewers, so we are cooking now. What this is just roasting notes. Although the B-More does not give us a ton of information about actual bean temperature, it does have some data that can be collected. The data doesn't tell me much about how the roasting profile is. Someday, relatively soon, I've got the savings account built. We'll be moving up to a different type of drum roaster that actually lets us see bean temperatures, and then we can start talking about different roasting profiles. Although we can't capture a real roasting profile, we can get some data, and that data is primarily focused at telling me how much this roast is setting up like previous roasts. Now, this is the first time I've roasted this bean, so I really want to keep some careful notes just so I can see how quickly it's going through that drying process, and then when we get to that first crack stage. All right, so right now, for about 3 minutes, we're about 244, and comparing that to other Ethiopian I've been doing, it's about identical. So hopefully this Ethiopian lines up very closely to other Ethiopians I've done, because the last big batch, the 10-pound bag that I just finished, that Ethiopian I've got pretty much dialed in with this little machine. So I'm hoping for a very smooth transition so I can get real quality coffee turning out as quickly as possible. So if you're just checking out the beans, what you're seeing is a pea green color. Now pea green is still that agricultural, it's got about 10–12% liquid. We're trying to bring as much of that liquid weight out as we possibly can and replace it with an airy, popped bean. It's going to start moving from that pea green to a kind of a lemon yellow, and then from lemon yellow is when it'll start taking on brown. Once it starts taking on brown, it's really when coffee roasting has started. To give you an idea of what is going on centrally, right now it smells like very, very agricultural in here. So I say agricultural, not like cows or pigs or chickens, but like cut grass, cut wheat. But you are starting to get some hints of kind of browned rice. So if you've ever made risotto before and you browned rice on a stove, that is the first smell that I'm starting to get. So it is signaling to me that the drying out process is happening and we are slowly moving to the roast process. Dr. Sweden, PhD, hard drugs time. I mean, to me, this is about as hard drugs as I go, Dr. Sweden, but it's the fix I love. Right? Close enough. I mean, it's the good stuff, so can't complain. And at this point in my life, like I said, it's about as hard as I can go, but it carries me to where I need to go. All right, so we're about at 282. Really the sweet spot with this machine is about 310 degrees. Now that is the internal temperature. Back at the heating element, the beans are actually being exposed to about 400, 450 degrees, but I'm trying to get this machine up to about 310. That is about as hot as the beam ore can go. If you're just tuning in, it looks like we've got a couple more people just jumping on. We are roasting an Ethiopian Guji. It's got some pretty unique flavors that we're trying to bring out in a light roast. As you can see, this is the 5-pound bag. The flavor notes here are going to be sugar, cream soda, fruited accents of nectarine, lemon, a touch of clove in the aroma, which is kind of interesting. I think that will make some pretty unique cups with that clove aroma. And then that peach-like acidity is what's going to help build the fruity impressions that your Ethiopians are known for. So that is the flavors that we're trying to get out, and we're going to be using a light roast method to get them. Okay, so at this point, the machine's heating up well, and the beans are starting to take on a cinnamon color. For science, have you ever brewed under roasted beans, and what were the unpleasant flavors? I have unroasted, now not for science, just because I tend to be very quick triggered, and the first couple of times I was roasting, if I heard pops, I'd cut the power out and didn't let them go through. It tastes bad. It tastes like kind of malted. It tastes a little bit like very grainy. In fact, there isn't much flavor at all. You do get some really sharp acid taste, but not the acid taste that light coffees are known for. Like acid taste, like it kind of tastes almost like vinegar. So under roasting coffee, I don't recommend it. There are some people that say it has like a tea type flavor. So, you know, everyone will drink there's people always going to drink something. But I personally am not big into that kind of, those flavor notes. Good question on that. All right, block 80, smoked coffee beans. Hopefully we don't get to smoked, but we are going to put a little bit. We want to avoid full smoke because we're taking this to a light roast, but it will get pretty smoky in here, and that reminds me to throw the exhaust on, so thanks for that. Smoked beans though. Yeah, I mean, we want to, I'm not a dark roast guy, but we do want to put just a little bit of smoke on this. Again, we are trying to turn a grain into something that is so we gotta add some heat. Okay, so at this point, if you're looking at the bean camera, we are moving into a nice dark roast, and I am expecting to start hearing the first cracks of first pop here in about the next 35 to 40 seconds. So is that my machine? Yeah, this is B-More 2000. This is a home roasting machine. In fact, this is really the kind of the training wheels to home roasting. I originally started on an air popper. This is just a Mr. Popper. You might have seen one of these like in your grandma's cupboard. I first started roasting on this, moved up to this machine, and there's some first crack. So we're going to take the power back, slow the drum down, and we're going to let this thing begin to develop. We'll let it develop for about 40 seconds, and we will then we'll take it off of its heat. Anyway, started with an air popper, moved to this machine. I've done about 100 roasts on this, and hopefully going to be moving up to a little bit bigger electric model here in the next couple of months. But this is B-More 2000, great first home roaster. So if you've ever been interested in home roasting, can't recommend this machine enough. Not that it's, you know, would be considered to be a master roaster by any means, but with this kind of quirky little machine, you can make some really quality roasted coffee. All right. Hey, Web87, do you think Dante Alighieri would use this particular roast? Dante, he don't like this roast. This roast, very good with Dante. All right, so we fully developed it, went ahead and throw the cool. Now, the Bmore would have you take this down about around 13 minutes to cool down beans. Now, for me, that is way too slow to cool down beans. I'm trying to hold on to as many acid flavors as I possibly can. And to do so, what I want to do is get it cooled down within about 4 minutes. So what I'm going to do is actually shut the machine off, pull the beans out, turn the cool cycle back on the machine, and I'm going to cool these beans externally. I have hooked up a shop vac that's going to pull cool air across the beans and cool these beans down in about 4 minutes, which is ideally what I'm looking for. All right, that kind of background noise that you're hearing is that's a shop vac that I've hooked up, and I'm trying to get the beans cooled down much faster than this machine normally would do. It's cooling down. You'll notice when you're chasing light roasts, there's a lot of adjustments you have to make. On a professional type roaster, those adjustments are built into the roasters, but because we are operating on a $400 home roaster, there are a couple of adjustments I've had to make to be able to get what I consider to be really quality coffee. So, sir, you find out the best beans. So the best beans, we are really lucky here in the United States that we have a bean provider called Sweet Maria's, and they provide what is green coffee beans at a pretty legit price. A pound of green beans like this costs me about $6, and it's some of the best single origin coffee you can get your hands on. Sweet Maria's has contacts all over all over the roasting world, which is generally on the equator, and they work with farmers to get some of the top level green beans. So primarily I get most of my beans from Sweet Maria's, and they really make home roasting a lot more friendly than, say, trying to buy things off the internet from other places, unreputable places like on Amazon, or trying to make contacts with farmers in South America by myself. All right, hey Webb, can't you just throw it in cold outside, or is that too cold? So if we put it in cold, the top part of the beans would get cool, but the bottom parts wouldn't. So it would almost cool it opposite, because all the heat from the bottom would continue to go up, and it would cool it very, very quickly on the top, but the bottom part would stay cool. By pulling cool air across, down over it, it's actually cooling the entire bean quicker than just throwing it outside. Now, if we threw it all on the ground, I guess that would be a lot quicker, but then all of our coffee would be on the ground. Good question. All right, Lisa MB, I had the same thought. Yeah, I mean, you could take it out, but this gives me a little bit more of the quality control that I'm looking for. But good questions. All right, so we've cooled it down for about 4 minutes, and I'll give you guys a look here, and we'll also toss it on the old bean can. So this, after about 8.5 minutes and about 40 seconds of development, we've got what I consider to be a pretty quality light roast. So for the first time roasting this beans, I'm very happy with how this turned out. It's got the classic red notes that a dry process Ethiopian would have. You might see some chaff in here. So what that is just as the beans roast, they get the chaff, and I will go through how I remove all this chaff here in a minute. But a good roasted coffee that we were able to do in our basement in the middle of winter, so not too shabby. All right. On your own farm? Not my own farm, not yet. That's the dream. So you bring up a Bloth 80, you bring up a really good dream, but all coffee has to be grown in the equator because coffee plants only survive between 70 degrees and 84 degrees. That's the only temperature that they thrive and are able to produce fruit. Since I'm in Olathe, Kansas, not really the ideal coffee growing regions yet. Who knows what the next 50 years will bring, but we don't have the best climates for it. But the dream is to someday take this thing to the farm because that's where my passions truly lie. I've missed your poem. Well, don't get her started. So let's Web. That's what it's called, grounds. That's terrible. I'm getting ready to shut the whole thing down. Lisa MB, that is a good color, I would agree. Look at those beautiful beans. That's what I do it for, it's just to get the good shot. Vegetable beard, don't let your dreams be dreams. Well, you make a good point, but I'm not bringing a 3-year-old and an infant to Central American when I don't speak Spanish just yet, their vegetable beard. J. McDon 311, how's the smell? Looks like a nice even color. Smell is a little smoky. A little bit roasted. The smell of beans isn't really going to reveal itself until about a day. There's a lot of CO2 built up in these beans. In fact, 30% of the CO2 is still going to be released from the beans over the next 6 to 12 hours. In fact, we've talked about this in the past. The prime time to really start drinking coffee is not a minute after you've roasted it. You want to let it sit for about 3 days. Before the best flavors and aromas are able to be captured from the beans. It is tough waiting 3 days, and I have broken that, but I've found anywhere between 3 and 8 days is the prime spot for drinking coffee. For drinking roasted coffee. Global warming for the win. Yeah, I got land here. Maybe in about 30 years, we'll turn something into a little bit of a coffee plant up this way. Anyone do greenhouse or indoor climate controlled growing? I'm not. If someone's doing it, I'm sure someone somewhere is trying to capture. And in fact, there are people in the southern parts of California who are starting to actually be able to grow coffee plants and have coffee products. Now, they haven't really had anything for commercial, so I've never heard anyone trying the California coffee yet. But I wouldn't think greenhouse would be completely out of the question, but in order to get the scale that you would need to be able to produce enough coffee to drink, because this is thousands of beans and this is only a half a pound. One plant might produce 2 pounds total, so the rate in which we consume, although I think you probably could do something in the greenhouse, but they're trees, like they're very large bushes, so the space, the size, to get a commercial crop would probably be pretty intense at this point. Vegetable beer, nice. Now I feel less rushed to brew my coffee within a week of roasting. Absolutely. Check the date. Now I try to buy it as quickly as possible because light roast 2 weeks, medium roast 8-9 days, dark roast 6 days. Dark roast, it does expel its CO2 a little bit faster. So you do get bought. You could probably get into a dark roast about a day, 2 days after it's roasted. Now this is like any art and science mixture. There's going to be a lot of back and forth about really how long you can take it. It all comes down to preference, and in my own preference, very, very few days on dark roasts, about a week and a half on a medium roast, and 2 to 3 weeks on a light roast. And if you keep it in an airtight area, you can add maybe a week to all those times. All right. So, good looking roast here for our first try at the Ethiopian. Very excited about that. So I'm actually going to toss this back into the drum, and I'm going to shake all the remaining chaff off the beans. Okay, so we'll throw the cap on here. And you can just see by the camera A lot of chaff is still on these beans. Shake and bake, sure. It's that last one that really gets it all off. And there it is. What I would consider to be a solid Ethiopian light home roast. That was very helpful, thank you. Would imagine that you have a hard rule of grinding immediately before brewing, though, right? Yes. Now, baristas, and that brings up a good plug. We're going to be bringing in a barista, a professional barista on Friday. We actually have a kitchen set up down here as well. We are in my basement, if you can't tell. We have a kitchen set up, and we're going to be bringing a barista in, and they're going to kind of talk through their whole process. I'll probably try to prod out the kind of the grinding. Grinding is a whole nother kind of avenue where people have thousands of thoughts. Coffee has so many flavors and so many variations that every step you're going to hear people say, do this, don't do that, I do this. Grinding needs to be done within, I say 2 minutes, because I use a hand grinder. It takes me about 2 minutes. If you get to people that are, say, espresso aficionados, they say seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds before they tamp it down and it enters the machine. They believe that oxidation can start to take place as quickly as seconds. What I generally say with grinding is don't grind till you're ready to drink it. As long as you're grinding within about 5-10 minutes, you're fine. Don't grind it, pour it in your machine, go to bed, come back, start the machine. Don't do that, because you're actually going to lose probably half to 75% of any desirable flavors. That's just going to leave you with like bad tasting coffee. Don't buy ground coffee. If they ask you to grind it at the coffee shop, no. Even a magic bullet, even a flat blade grinder you buy for 12 bucks from Walmart is going to get you such a better flavor at the day of the roast than anything you can get pre-ground. Good question. Shake, 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 senor. Yeah, thanks. Vegetable bean, masterly done. I'm trying. AWeb87, I'm from Houston. What is a basement? You're from Houston, but AWeb87, you're also from Indiana. You know what a basement is. All right, vegetable beard. That's where Northerners keep their, I guess I read that, taters. AWeb87, also, I feel my pre-ground HEB coffee is not what is good. Have I been living a lie? Yeah, you, on so many levels. First, if they don't put the date on the bag, don't drink it. A good roaster has nothing to hide. And that's all, like really that's, no, if you're good at your craft, you're not hiding anything. Hence, but if they doesn't have a date on it, don't buy it. If it's ground, don't buy it. Just take a couple of steps and just see how much the flavor will improve just by buying it fresh and grounding it yourself. I'm not talking about becoming a great brew master. You can still use a drip coffee maker. Full disclosure, I still use primarily a drip coffee maker when given the opportunity. Freshly roasted within that 2-week window and freshly ground, you'll see a world of difference. You probably will put yourself in the seat of coffee house level coffee within the first time you drink it. So stop that. All right, God, this is one of the best Twitch stations. I know, hidden gem. So don't be afraid to go out there, let people know. We are always improving. This is, yesterday was our 1-month anniversary, well, 2 days ago. So we are constantly improving the content as we get feedback. So please let us know if there's anything you want to see. I will do primarily roasting shows because I have to roast to feed my own fix. But we are, like I said, we're going to try to add some more shows. Julie makes a lot of cameo appearances in here. So spread the word because Good coffee needs to be had by all, always. J McDon 311. I love my HEB coffee, San Antonio and Austin. Oh my, you know, that's where I got my start too. So, isn't that the one that has like the nuts in it? Which one puts the nuts in it? Terrible. Vegetable beard. The secret to the Austin blend is roasted by people with handlebar mustache. I mean, you really can taste the old pomade and mustache oil on the Austin blend. Just wait till you see our brewing show. Yeah, the brewing show is where the money's made. And that is, that's 100% Jay Brogren. The brewing show that's where it gets intense. So I know we are in COVID times. Friday at 8:30, you might be like, hey, I have a life, but we got 2 small kids. So Friday at 8:30, and we're gonna try to push that to Saturdays at 8:30 normally, but this is a special show. So tune in for that, definitely. AWeb87, vegetable beard. Roasted by smelly hipsters living in their van down by the river. Which river? Jay Brogren, I cannot wait to see it. Vegetable beard, Friday night, 8:30, I'll be there. Yeah, be there. We're really promoting that. So I think that is where the art side of our Twitch channel will really come out, because we got a bunch of quirky ideas. We're bringing in the professional barista next on Friday. We're actually going to bring in my father-in-law 2 weeks from now. That will be his birthday weekend. He is going to be 66. We've fixed the date on that. He'll be 66 years old, and he says he's not a coffee drinker. He hates it, and it's bitter. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to make a convert, and that's in 2 weeks. And any kind of fun brewing / kitchen show you could think of, drop those in the comment, and we'll try to make that work. All right, Friday show. Writing up, so drop some questions. It's really good to hear from some of you. I haven't heard from in a long time. I think the chat was really good tonight. So as always, really appreciate all the talks. If you've not done so yet, please follow me. That will just help you get an immediate alert of when I'm roasting. So just throw a follow if you want to. If you're interested in seeing this content in any sort of repetition, please follow us. We usually do 8:30 shows, and I will roast about 3 times a week, and we'll do 1 kitchen show. Also, follow us on Instagram at Fat Beans Coffee. If you've not done that. Okay, that's father-in-law. Was he unsure of how old he was? Yeah, that was a whole long thing. If you look back at past shows, the unknowing of his age, I thought the guy was 70, but I was wrong. Do I need to add Twitch emojis of Higgins? Yeah, Moose and Higgins. As soon as I'm allowed to add Twitch emojis, I will get all of the fun-loving furry friends on the emojis for your viewing pleasure. But we got to build this monster first. We've met all of the the categories to get emojis except for followers. So we got to start getting our followers up. I don't really want to turn this into just chasing followers, because I'd rather make content for the people that are watching. But if you are willing to drop a follow, please do. Perfect. I live the puppy. I mean, yeah, we'll get the puppy emojis. We might have to have you contact. I bet you know, I'm gonna go out on a limb here, Vegetable Beard, and say that you might be the guy that knows how to put these emojis together. So if we ever do get affiliated with Twitch, and that means 50 followers, you will be the person that I come knocking the door of. All right, J McDonald 311. Let's do it. Build this monster for a goal of emojis. I mean, yeah. I mean, if nothing else, we get affiliated, we get emojis, we actually get to start acting a little bit more like a Twitch channel. So this is more of our training wheels period. And like I said, we've only been doing this for a month. I usually have more technical difficulties than anything, but the 50 followers is the goal. So a lot of you are in Austin that are in the chat right now. I think this content is right up the old mustache alley. So hit them up, let them experience it. If they feel free to drop the follow, just like A-Web just did. Thank you for the follow, A-Web. Dog emoji, dog emoji, dog emoji. Yeah, asking the hard-hitting questions. Okay, so Roasted coffee, Ethiopian. Gonna take a break tomorrow just to kind of build up my hype and excitement for the Friday show. But shout out to Austin. Great, you built a city by a lake, and you've got a pink Capitol building and just more waxed face hair than anywhere in per capita, maybe other than some town, Oregon. But no, Austin, you're a great city. Brian, you missed my question. How do you plan to brew this coffee for me? This is going to be a Chemex. This is going to be a V60 pour over, and this will also hit, I think it's going to be good in the dripper. It will not be in the mocha pot. We will not be putting this in any sort of, this is not an espresso roast. And as you know, the AeroPress can take all comers. So this will be an AeroPress coffee as well. Good question. Is the hoodie responsibly sourced from chinchilla wool? Roasting hoodie, roasting slippies. Gotta always have them. And yes, they are both responsibly sourced from your local Goodwill thrift store. Recycled. Vegetable beard. I'll be honest, Town Lake isn't really a lake. There you go. See? Now, the hard-hitting truths are coming out. That's coming from a Georgetown native. That's saying a lot. That's not a lake, but it is. It's a beautiful city. I will not bag on Austin now that I'm here in Kansas City. Even though Kansas City, it's been good to me. So, all right. AWeb87 is only acceptable way to drink coffee black, or can you use sugar or cream? So, AWeb, that happens to be probably the most contentious conversation that we have here on Fat Beans Roasting Lab Twitch. So when I started, it was only black coffee. And black coffee is the best coffee for your health. It has 1 calorie. It's good. It has antioxidants. It's good for your heart. It's good for your liver. It's good for your brain. People that drink more black coffee tend to be able to fight off Alzheimer's. With that said, drinking milk in a medium or dark roast, a little bit of milk or heavy whipping cream is perfectly acceptable because it kind of creates that dessert feeling. Milk in coffee is an American tradition, and the one thing we got to do here in America is start to refine good traditions for our coffee. We drink more coffee than anyone, yet we have no defined traditions. So if you like drinking milk in your coffee, drink it. Kona Zukar? Nah, you don't need to put sugar in. The cream, heavy whipping cream is all you need. The sugar is just going to mask a lot of bad roasting. Sugar is a way to, it's how diners tend to mask poor or old coffee. So force yourself to get out of the sugar realm, but you can stick with the cream because it does kind of create a new flavor dynamic that really brings out some of the chocolate flavors. You really brought, like I said, that is something that we debate here. I've come around and now I say, milk's okay. Vegetable beard. Damn, you got me. Glad you admit it's pretty here, except when it's 100. Yeah, I mean, it's still Texas. And Jay Brogren, cream acceptable, no sugar. Yeah, that's kind of the Fat Beans coffee line. Cream, sugar, and that's where I stick for now. Now, if you think you can get me convinced that sugar is an acceptable addition to coffee, I'm ready to take it. But this is going to taste like peach. It's going to taste like cream soda. It's going to taste like there's going to be tons of fruit flavors in there. If I pour sugar in, all those flavors are gone and it becomes sugar. So if I want to just eat sugar, I'll get myself a nice piece of pie, put it right next to the cup. Now I got the sugar I'm looking for. All right, US motto, cream me but don't call me sugar. You're gonna get banned. You're gonna be the first person. We have a very small, tight-knit community, AWeb, but you're gonna be the first one who gets banned with that stuff. I promise you that. Yeah, I have a French press because of you, asshole. And that's quoting, not trying. This is a family-friendly show, but I don't like to censor art, if you know that about me. Yeah, French press, immersion coffee, top-notch. Get yourself an AeroPress. It's everything about the French press, all of the acid, all the bitter gone. So $30, Target, Bed Bath & Beyond, Amazon. If you're really hard up and you're worried about the price, I'll send you one. AeroPress, We did a whole expose on it last week. So if you want to check back, it's called the AeroPress Show on Twitch, where I show a couple of different AeroPress methods. Get one of those as well. Yeah, the band note is out. Jay Brogan, you feel me on that? She gets 6 puns a stream. Anything after 6, she gone. All right, yeah, I had an AeroPress before a French press, so thanks for that. Yeah, I remember. I've sold like 100 of those AeroPresses, so AeroPress. Jamie Don 311, A-Web and Vegetable Beard, please come back on the other roasts. Love the back and forth. Yeah, full disclosure, these are, do know A-Web and Vegetable Beard. Everyone in the early streams are very tight connected, and I do appreciate all the support that you guys are giving this. You're helping me just stay somewhat entertained on these cold winter nights roasting. So appreciate all the views. Had a lot of fun. I'm going to let everyone get back to their overall lives. We're tuning in right about 45 minutes. Could do this all night, but I got to save some content for the big Friday show that's coming up. Any others? So any other questions? I'll answer a couple more questions before I go and kind of put my life together before the kids start waking up again. Can't wait. Yeah, I'm excited. So I'm excited to see everyone in. Tell people about it if they want to. What I'm seeing is people my age and some of your ages has a little bit hard time making the transition to Twitch. So I appreciate you guys doing the Twitch. Although Lisa and Vegetable Beard, my guess is you seem to be know your way pretty well around the Twitch. So this was so fun. Thank you. We'll be there Friday. All right. So Friday, again, if you've not done so, follow us. Or not. Love to have you. Love to give you the opportunity to get the alerts. But it's been a lot of fun chatting. And if you've not followed us on Instagram, we do. Well, Julie posts a lot of cool pictures with insight. I'm not much of the writer. But overall, I'll see you guys on Friday. And it was great having everyone in the roast. I don't know why you would lump me in with Vegetable Beard. I don't know them. Oh, all right. Well, I apologize. I didn't mean to make any sort of accusations. You guys came in together. You don't know them. All right, guys. I'm tuning out. So as always, be easy, and I'll see you next time.